Hey guys, I have huge news. It came out just maybe 30 seconds ago to me. Got it in an email from my source, one of the major two organizations that report to us on Social Security and work really hard legislatively to get things accomplished and through the agency itself. Um, Not too many months ago, I put out a video on the proposed rule change for past relevant work and what the SSA can consider when determining whether you, in fact, can do your past relevant work. There is a recency rule, and forever and a day, it has been 15 years. It's always been that. I've been doing this 2 decades, and it was 15 years, and it's still 15 years. However, they decided they wanted to change it to 5 years. This is so huge. I'm going to attach the video where we talk about why it's huge, so I don't repeat myself too much. But guys, this is the first big claimant-friendly, immense claimant-friendly rule change in my lifetime with this. I know during 15 and that whole era, they were creating rules that were really going to be harder for disability claimants, as well as for some retirees. And they succeeded in doing that, and a lot of things became effective immediately, and some in 2017 as a result. But this one is the pro-claimant, really getting a grip and understanding on the fact that a job that you could do, that you did 14 years ago, and you could probably do it now, is no longer going to sink your ship at step 4. So huge. Looking back 5 years, it's going to be really your recent work. You know, 14 years ago is not really recent, right? In terms of how we remember we did it. Are the conditions still the same? Are the technologies still the same? The processes, all that kind of stuff, the expectations of output, etc. So they've recognized and they're acting upon the fact that things have changed. And the rate at which probably jobs change and what's needed for a job, the rate at which they change can no longer be contained in a 15-year period. It is much quicker that things change. So anyway, this is huge. And we don't have to wait for 6 months for this to take effect either. It's taking effect June 8th. So what I don't know is, will it be affecting cases that get decided June 8th or after? Or will it be affecting cases that get filed June 8th or after? The final rule is going to be published tomorrow. Once again, we have a little early insight into it, which I really always appreciate. And when I find out that date, I will make sure that I post it in the comments or to the membership. If you're not a member, consider joining. And it'll let you know what kind of impact this will have if you have a current case, or certainly if you have a future case. It is momentous. It is huge. All right, guys, that's it. I'm going to attach the actual further explanation, which I did a few months ago, and I got wind that this was going to potentially be coming down the pike, and I reported it to you. And take a listen. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hey, so I just heard that another video is being attached here that pertains to the subject matter of the video you just watched. So if the shoe fits and it's of interest to you, feel free to stick around. Talk to you later. Bye. Hey, this is really huge news. It's a proposal by the SSA, and it's what I consider to be one of the rarer ones that are making it actually better for claimants, for workers, to be able to prove they are disabled. It's huge. So let me go into it. It just came out today. It's not a rule change yet. It is they do something called a proposed rulemaking change, and that they give, I think it's usually 2 months for comments to be received, pro or con, what people think. I can't imagine anyone who works as a representative, attorney or non-attorney rep, not loving this. To me, this is huge, huge. It's going to affect many people, not everybody, but many people. So here it is. And by the way, they're taking comments till November 28th. And I'm going to link the page that shows you, if you're going to make a comment, which methods they want you to do it by and how to get there. Okay, between internet, faxing, mailing, all that kind of stuff. So I would like to think that everybody who would be making a comment would be in support and to have a cogent commenting of support. So, okay, here we go. The summary, I'm just going to read you the summary and then we can talk about other more specifics about it.
But, and they say, we propose to revise the time period that we consider when determining whether an individual's past work is relevant for purposes of making disability determinations and decisions. Specifically, we would revise the definition of past relevant work, PRW. Guys, I have like 3 videos on PRW because it's an important concept for various stages um, and purposes with the SSA disability program. So again, specifically, we would revise the definition of past relevant work, PRW, by reducing the relevant work period from 15 to 5 years. That means the back window. Instead of it being all the way back 15, it's only going back 5. Huge, huge, huge. So those other 10 years worth of jobs, they can't consider those. Yay. This change would allow individuals to focus on the most current and relevant information about their past work. So I think what they're referring to when you are maybe filling out your work history report and the part on your application, better reflect the current evidence base on changes over time in worker skill decay. That's a huge point. Worker skill decay. What we did 14 years ago, we might not be able to accomplish today. Those jobs, can be non-existent. That's a whole nother issue, actually, but for a lot of different reasons. 14 years ago, you might not be able to do that job, even though it's within the last 15 years and considered relevant. Skill decay and job responsibilities, reduce processing time and improve customer service, and reduce burden on individuals. I think when they talk about individuals, they are talking about claimants, not about staff or workers or people getting paid to do a job within the SSA. They reiterate that they want comments by November 28th, 2023. And again, this just came out today, September 29th. And I'm very excited to see it. I'm sitting here in Niles, Ohio, working in an unusual location for myself. But here we go. They go on, they give a very thorough explanation. So I'm just going to sum up where this becomes relevant for you if you're a claimant. There's something called the sequential evaluation process, and it's considered 5 steps that they go through. It's almost like one of those true false trees to get to whether you're disabled or not disabled. So they give a general overview. So I'll just go through that real quickly with you. I think we do have a video on sequential evaluation process, I think. But the first step of the process is they consider whether the person is working. And if they are, does that work constitute SGA, substantial gainful activity? If you're working but not to the extent of SGA, it's not substantial and gainful, then that would not be a bar and you would pass step 1. But if you're earning above SGA, which is a changing number every year by and large, then and this in 2023 it's 1470. Very soon they're going to announce the COLA increase, so we'll find out what that is very soon, in days actually, I think. So if they're going to say that if the person is performing SGA, they are going to find that they're not disabled. You can't go any further. It doesn't matter what your vocational profile is, age, education, experience, it doesn't matter. You are working. So how can you be disabled from working SGA? At step 2 of the process, they determine whether you have any severe impairments. And a severe impairment is one which significantly limits your physical or mental ability to do basic work activities. Having a severe impairment does not make you disabled, by the way, but it significantly limits some work-related tasks, and so that makes it severe. And at that same step, they also determine if that severe impairment meets the statutory duration requirement. Now, the duration requirement is 12 months. And I need to drive home that the 12 months need not be already have occurred. It doesn't have to be in your back window and now you're pushing out of 12 months to file. However, for them, they're going to have to find that the impairment either did last or will last according to the medical records, not just according to what you say, for 12 months. If it's kind of clear, it's going to keep lasting. So if it's not severe, or if it doesn't meet that durational requirement, then they're also going to find you're not disabled at step 2. If you have the severity and the duration requirement met, then you're going to go to step 3 of the sequential evaluation process. And that step is where they decide whether you meet a listing, meet or equal, medically equal a listing impairment description on the blue book of listings that's at ssa.gov if you need to find it. Not all impairments are in the listings. And most people, I would say, I think most people don't win on a listing. They win on the other part of the fight, the residual functional capacity, the longer fight. So if it meets a listing, then they'll find that you're disabled. If none of your impairments meet a listing or equal it medically, then they have to determine what your RFC is, residual functional capacity. And that's where they determine whether you can do light work, sedentary work, heavy work, medium work, whether you have any environmental limitations, postural limitations, manipulation, non-exertional, mental limitations, all that. They do emphasize that the RFC is the most a person can do despite the limitations, not the least. And that means at a full-time day, not just in one little tiny little piece of time. So they figure out your RFC, and then you go on to step 4, where they consider your work history. And this is where this comes in important for this proposed rulemaking difference. They decide, given your RFC, whatever they've applied to you, if you're a claimant, can that individual with that RFC, with that residual amount of ability still left to do something, can they do their past relevant work? And so historically, that past relevant work was they look at your 15 years of jobs, and if they find you had a super easy one, super easy that you could still do, then you can do it and you're done. That means that you are not disabled. But if you cannot perform any of your prior relevant work, you survive step 4 and you go on to step 5. And at step 5 of the sequential evaluation process, it is whether, although you can't do your past work, is there any other work you can do that exists in substantial numbers in the national economy, or I believe regional economy, in light of your RFC, your residual functional capacity, what you have left in capacity to do stuff, as well as your vocational factors now of age, education, and work experience. That's your vocational profile. And that is where they also conduct a transferable skills analysis, if applicable. And if they find that you cannot adjust to other work, they'll find that you're disabled. If they find that you can adjust to other work and do other work, then you're not disabled. Anyway, so it is that step 4 where this past relevant work is going to be really important. Because for some individuals, when they can't do their past relevant work and they can't transfer skills, because the skills have to come from the past relevant work, only those last 5 years now, if this proposed rule changes, if those skills that are in that last 5 years are not the kind that are transferable, or that person, due to his impairments, could not transfer those particular skills, he can be found disabled, even if he could do sedentary work from a physical perspective. It is a specific rule that applies to people over 50. There's a 50, a 55, a 60, and that's where we refer to the grids. But that change to 5 years eliminates so much landmine-ish type of trepidation. There's a lot of stuff in those 10 years that can really drag someone's case and kill it. And now we've eliminated that one danger, that section of danger, if this passes. I would imagine it would, because again, who's gonna vote it down? In any event, I hope that explains it. Step 4 is going to be a much better process, I think, and much more realistic, because to think that one can do something from 14 years ago that they have not done in 14 years, and with the passage of technology and all these things that have changed, and the way we just we lose our knack. We just do. I mean, they know it over 50. It does happen under 52, 40s. But certainly this is gonna, I think, have a major effect on many people over 50. Not all people, not all claimants, but many that would otherwise have been denied at step 4. So it's very good news, guys. I'm really excited. It's a great weekend surprise. Have a great day. Bye.